everyone. Cupid Guy Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd.
Hi everyone, Janthony Pancano here, internet's zestiest music nerd, and it is time for the review of the Ty Dolla $ign Kanye West collaborative LP, Vultures 1. Okay, the bit's dead. I'm sorry. I think I'm going to keep the format going, but we're just going to talk about the album now. So after months and months of rollout, we finally got Vultures. Kanye was actually at UBS Arena on Friday for a listening party, which like I go to school at this place called Hofstra. It's literally like 5 minutes away from there. So I was definitely interested in going, partially because it just would have been good content. But I had a class when tickets dropped, and then after that there was like a multi-step waiting process to get them. So I just listened to Vultures when everyone else did, like when it randomly dropped on Saturday. And I also listened with my friends because, you know, I kind of have a girly music taste. I'm not afraid to admit it. So Kanye West is one of those artists that we can bond over, you know? So if he's dropping a new album, obviously I'm going to listen to it with them via Discord. They all live in New Jersey, so we take what we can get. Say hi, guys.
Hello. Haters is not gonna say anything, huh? Yo.
Before this video begins, I must clarify that I do not support Kanye Omari West in any of the anti-Semitic or otherwise offensive things he has stated and continues to state. And I also want to clarify that I'm not separating the art from the artist, because I don't think you should do that. An artist's work is an extension of themselves, so you can't really make that distinction. I'm simply addressing the fact that all humans are flawed, and we're all also equals. You see, I feel like cancel culture is built on this idea that there's good and bad people, like it's black and white, and when a celebrity gets canceled, their piece is picked up from the good side and moved across the board to the bad side, you know what I mean? When in actuality, we're all just different shades of gray. Yeah, you could argue that some are a lighter or darker shade than another person, but it's still the same fucking color. While Kanye has said and done a lot of really fucking terrible things, I don't think he's the devil, so I'm not going to treat him like he is. And as a shade of gray myself, I just don't feel right placing judgment on another shade of gray. Anyways, let's just get into this album. This isn't scripted, by the way. I have my notes off camera. I'm just kind of like riffing. What I'll start off by saying is my expectations for this album weren't that high for a couple of reasons. You know, I definitely think Kanye's most recent works, even before Vultures, were just not his best. Donda and Jesus is King are my two least favorite Kanye albums. If I had to rate Kanye on this album, it'd probably be like a 2. And I liked the album, like I thought it was good, but Ty Dolla $ign carried, bro. That man ate like it was his last meal on earth. I'm not familiar with any of his music, but it made me want to start listening to him because he was so good on this album. In particular, I really liked the song Paid. I feel like that hook is really simple. He's just saying, I'm just here to get paid, which, now that I think about it, it's kind of funny. Like he's just on the album to get paid. Anyways, if that's all you're here for, to just get paid, and you didn't really care, that's even more impressive. He ate, bro. What can I say? We're all 7, he 8. And I haven't looked it up, but I'm sure Kanye handled most of the production side, so it's not a big deal that lyrically or just delivery-wise, he wasn't doing that much. I think that the production had a lot of fun moments. And you know, when there's like a beat change or something, it definitely hits. But for the most part, I feel like it was lacking this extra layer of like depth to it. Not lyrically, but at some points it really just felt like it was drums and then like whatever highlighted instrument they're using. And I feel like it would have benefited from having more going on, or just more supporting those instruments rather than it just being those things. The drums on this album are fantastic though. I do have to clarify, they're amazing. I would say pretty much every single one of them hits. Also, I thought some of the features were good too, you know, and the samples were okay. This Jason Mewes sample, kind of hilarious, bro. Pick up that shit. Ooh. Hi, bro. His singing on this album is amazing. Tell you one thing, beautiful big titty but naked women just don't fall out the sky, you know. You know, it's like, it depends on how you look at it. For me, it's just like so ridiculous that it's funny. But it does get into a part of this album, and I guess the album's aesthetic that I'm not a huge fan of. You know, look at the album cover. It's supposed to be like aesthetic and art or whatever, but that is his wife's butt. Just right there. And it's like, again, I don't want to get into the judgmental territory about his character or anything, but I do think it is a little weird that he's kind of like parading her around in like the album rollout and the aesthetic. It's their relationship. I guess they could do whatever they want. Obviously, she's probably fine with it. But when you look at his Instagram, man, it's just like all pictures of her, like very revealing clothing, and like, I don't know. It feels a little weird. But that does kind of segue into an issue that I have with the album itself. You know, I feel like the rollout for this album had such a specific aesthetic. And you know, when you look at some of his other albums, Jesus, College Dropout, 808's Graduation, even fucking Life of Pablo, if I'm being honest, there's like a little bit of a connecting sound. Whereas this kind of just felt like a compilation of a bunch of like fun songs, but I don't know. You know, but it's not like it's a mess at the end of the day. You know, it doesn't feel like it's all over the place. I just don't think it's doing a lot to make itself stand out. And that is a negative for me because especially with someone like Kanye whose discography is so full, I don't see Vultures even touching the upper half, you know what I mean? Realistically, I would say it's better than Jesus is King, and it's like fighting with Donda for that number, what is it, 12 spot? Oh my god, bro. Ty Dolla $ign, man, I'm telling you. And it's funny because Kanye's other collaborative albums, I would say the artists do a good job of sharing the load in terms of just their performance. You know, I would say it's a 50-50 split between him and Jay-Z and him and Kid Cudi on Kids See Ghosts and Watch the Throne. Or swap them on Watch the Throne, Kids See Ghosts. But here, like, delivery-wise, again, I'm sure Kanye did more of the actual work. Ty's eating, bro. Ty's bodying him. The lyrical content of this album, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't think there's a lot of bars. And, like, when you look at it bar for bar, he's kind of, like, doubling down, and I just can't support that. You know, not a fan of that at all. And it's also one of those things where it's like, I don't know how seriously I'm supposed to take it. With Kanye, it's like he's just doing all this shit because he can, you know? And it's like, I do want to touch on the last song of the album called King. He's like, look at all the shit that I did, and I'm still king. You're still listening to my album. That was a kind of shitty note for it to end on for me, because I just felt shitty. You know, I was like, damn, you're right. You did do all that stuff, and yet here I am. You know, you shouldn't be doing all of these bad things because you can. You should be using your platform to spread a positive message. So as is always the case when I don't script my videos, there's a lot of things that I wouldn't say don't agree with, but just didn't elaborate on enough in my initial review, so I'm here now. Looking at this song again, I do kind of feel like I missed the head of the nail a little. What's the metaphor, people? The nail head a little bit while hammering it? Something like that. I kind of see it now as Kanye saying, the media's tearing me down, and I'm still king. Look, I still have my people. I'm still doing my thing. Which is not as bad as how I initially interpreted it, which is Kanye saying, I could just do whatever the fuck I want, and it doesn't matter because everyone loves me regardless. But that's not necessarily the way I would see it, you know? The media is tearing you down for a reason, and I think there's a way to look at that, address it, realize the ways that you're wrong without losing respect for yourself or without losing your audience. I feel like you don't always have to double down. And that kind of sums up this entire album for me. I guess just my thoughts on it, because I feel like I've appreciated when Kanye doubled down in some aspects. You know, like Runaway, for example, was him sort of doubling down on being a douchebag. It's addressing the fact that he is an imperfect person and not directly apologizing for something that he knows he probably won't be able to fix. But lecturing about Kanye's wrongdoing is kind of just like beating a dead horse. It's like this album didn't have any mindfuck moments, and I feel like even Donda, which is one of my least favorite Kanye albums, Hurricane, bro, that's a mindfuck. You know what I mean? Jesus is King, I guess there's no mindfuck there. I don't know. And every other album has at least one of those moments where like, oh shit, what the, like, you feel like your brain is expanding, and this album did not have that for me. But I mean, he is dropping another installment in a month. I'm excited for that. We'll see what happens. You know, when everything is said and done, I feel like the parts of this album that I like are the more simpler, more upbeat songs. I made a comment earlier saying that there weren't that many bars, and I do kind of agree with that to a certain extent. I think there's a lot of fun lyrics and a lot of like memorable little one-liners. But once you start getting into like the longer verses on a song like Vultures and like dissecting what Kanye's actually getting across on like a deeper level, for me it's just stuff that I fundamentally don't agree with. And that's a bummer because I can appreciate the other aspects of a song, but that is kind of one of the most important parts to me. It's like no matter how fun the production is or how good the hook is, if Kanye's saying in the verse that he can't be an anti-Semite because he fucks a Jewish bitch, like it's not, I can't really get behind that sentiment. And don't get me wrong, if you're able to look past that or you're able to just enjoy the music regardless, I think that's totally fine. But I just feel like in a lot of his previous albums, he talked about some more interesting stuff to me, you know, things like social issues or mental health, where I like genuinely respected and appreciated his perspective. But now I've gotten to a point where I can't respect it as much, but that doesn't mean that the album is inherently bad, because sonically it sounds good, you know what I mean? But I just can't give it that JPK stamp of approval. There's certain things that you just can't overlook. And that doesn't mean I'm placing judgment on Kanye's character, like I said earlier. It's just looking at the facts, what's right in front of me, the words that are in these songs I don't like. And I think that's okay. You know, I still will probably listen to Back to Me, still listen to Paid. The fun or upbeat songs. I don't mind making small talk with this guy Kanye, but I don't really want to have a meal with him. I don't know if that metaphor makes sense, but I'm just going to keep it in. So I feel like I've been rambling all over the place, but when you break it down, my only real problems with this album are Kanye West and like all the things that he's saying in his verses, the kind of weird rollout that he did with his wife, and the lack of oomph. The lack of a distinguishing factor that sets it apart from the rest of his albums. I'd probably give it like a 6. Like a strong, sturdy 6. I would say the album was okay. It was good. It was solid. Still probably one of my least favorite Kanye albums. And yeah, Ty Dolla $ign, Have My Children. Anyways, that's where we're gonna wrap today's video up. How does Anthony Fantano do his outros? Let me see.
This record transition.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Transition. Be sure to subscribe, follow the Patreon, like this video if you enjoyed. I know it's a little bit of a different style, but I'm just trying new things, trying to have fun with it. At the end of the day, I'm gonna keep the format that I usually have, but you could probably expect Anthony Fantano reviews for the rest of the Vultures releases at least. And is that how he ends it? Okay, I think I'll just shrug then.